Hi, everyone. Welcome. It is so good to have you all here today. Just give folks another minute or so to get logged in, get settled. And then I am just so excited for this conversation today, excited to introduce our panelists, and talk through the experience of growing paraprofessionals and substitutes into certified educators here in the state of Ohio. Thanks so much for being with us today. So I'm going to start us off by just saying hello and introducing our panelists. My name is Taryn. I am a senior learning strategist with Bloomboard. I have the privilege of working with these districts, these educators in this pathway that we're going to speak with today. And so I'm just so excited for them to be able to share their experiences with you and share their perspectives with you as you consider if this is a pathway that makes sense for your school, for yourself, and for your own experience. And so, with that, I'm going to take a moment just to introduce or give my panelists an opportunity to introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Vicki, if you want to say hello to the group.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vicki Maruniak, and I am the proud superintendent of Triad Local Schools.
And then for my panelists, will you all also help for context for our folks? Will you share the program that you're in, as well as maybe a little bit about your placement day to day? I'll start with you, India.
Okay, I'm India Smith. I am a paraprofessional here at Miami Trace Local Schools in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. I do cooperative learning with the kids. I have grades K through six, and I'm working on my intervention specialist in mild to moderate in the program.
Thanks so much, India. Stacey, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I'm Stacy Witt. I'm a paraprofessional for the Western Brown Local School District out in Brown County, Ohio. I currently am a paraprofessional in a K through 4 cross-categorical room, and I also just finished a long-term sub position in that classroom as well. So I was teacher for 3 months, and I'm a dual licensure student, so I am getting my bachelor's in the mild to moderate needs for intervention specialists and also elementary education.
Thank you so much. And then last but certainly not least, Tabitha, do you want to say hi?
Tabitha is having a little bit of trouble with the audio, so
Oh, okay. Well,
let's see.
hopefully we can get her
Give a
hooked
minute
up.
till we figure that
Yeah.
out. Sorry about that.
Well, let's give her a minute to get herself connected. And in the meantime, maybe we can start by talking through some pieces with you, Vicki, just about your experience as a district leader and kind of your approach to this. So if you would start us off a little bit and just give us some background on Triad Local, and your experience there in the district.
Yeah, no problem. I've been at Triad. I've been the superintendent for 7 years. This is my 31st year in education. So I remember being at the top beginning of my career and thinking like 30 years is forever. That's so far away. Now it's here and I'm like, nah, it's not that long at all. I still got another 30 to do. So I've been here for 7. Before that, I was at North Union Local School District. In the district, I was a first grade teacher, a second grade teacher, and then I was an assistant principal, a principal, and the chief academic officer. So I've had a lot of different roles, but I've been the superintendent here at Triad for 7 years. Triad is a small rural school. We have about 60% free and reduced lunches, and a pretty significant special education population in our district. We're kind of in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And so it takes literally from my district 15 minutes or more to get to anything, any civilization, a gas station, food, hospitals, grocery stores. So it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, which gives us a unique spin when we're trying to find applicants.
Yeah, I feel like that leads really well into something I was going to ask you next, which is what are some of the challenges that you face when it comes to teacher retention and recruitment in your district?
So I can say, as an elementary principal, I can remember putting out a K to 3 job and having 100 applicants. Now I get 2 if I'm lucky. Things like more specialized, like a Spanish position, I've haven't had it posted 3 years in a row and haven't had one applicant. So it's hit and miss. High school is definitely more specialized and it's harder to find, but I've been to job fairs my whole career as an administrator, and I can remember going to job fairs where it was two colleges and the room was full of hundreds of kids. The last job fair I went to had 13 colleges and under 100 kids. So I feel like people just aren't going into education like they used to. And so I might get an amazing rock star teacher, and then they'll go to the district that's towards Columbus or Dublin, and they can pay a lot more than what I can pay. And so it's a little bit hard to retain once you actually fight and find someone that's really great.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? Both the ability to what the pool is, but then also once I have you, the ability to retain you and keep you here in the district, both being imbalance and a challenge in that work. What are some of the ways that you're going about addressing those challenges?
So I said probably 2 years ago, we're going to have to do things in education we've never done before. Like we have to find a way to get people that are in our communities to stay here and grow our own people in our communities. And I knew nothing about Bloom Board. And it's funny because I start looking for options and I find out about Bloom Board after I started. I did like a search in my email. I was like, all these advertisements came up and I was like, how did I miss this for so long? I didn't know. So a part of being hired through me is that after your first year, you can be interviewed to be in this program. So I'm getting people in my community that are interested in more than not that an aid's a bad thing. It's a great thing, but they want to get their license, but they don't have the ability to do that. So I'll have, when we interview, that's kind of what we tell them is you do a great job your first year and we're going to consider you for this. So I have two candidates. One is almost done and one is just starting. One is a preschool aide and now she's being paid this year as a preschool teacher, even though she's not done yet. And then I have another one that's a high school aide, paraprofessional, and she's getting hers. So for intervention specialist. So I love it. In transparency, I have a daughter in my previous district where she lives. She's also doing it. So as a superintendent, I would never, ever tell my daughter to be involved in something I didn't feel like was meaningful. And I feel like when I got my degree, so much time was spent on checking boxes and hoops that never really made me a better teacher. I became a better teacher by being in classrooms, those classroom experiences, student teaching. So for me, for my daughter, for my staff, getting you involved with kids and your hands on kids and you in the meat of it is the best way for you to learn anything, not writing reports and reading things and trying to write. That's not the way to do it. And so I love that it mixes that.
Yeah, I kind of feel similarly, right? I think about my 4-year program and how much time I spend sitting in lecture and thinking about the thing and how much I wish I had had more time in the classroom actually getting that exposure, which is a big component of the program that we run here in Ohio. You already started to talk about this a little bit with the program that you implemented in partnership with Bloom Board. Is there anything you want to share about the structure of the program or how you're utilizing it at Triad Local?
I think the biggest thing is it starts with me. And if I don't understand it, no one under me is going to understand it. And I think that's critical for any school that does it. Any superintendent, principal, teacher, anyone can call me, but it starts with me. I had to get someone to get my board to agree to let them do that. I had several meetings like, here's all the information, take it, go away and read everything and come back with your questions. And then I would set up a meeting with Taryn where we would we would go back and forth, like, what are the questions? And then I would say, go home, think about it and come back. And then I was to go into my interviewing and asking questions about, what do you think about this? How would you handle this? And all of that, because I have a line of people that want it. And so as I have people successful, but I want to pick the person that really is going to work hard and I know is going to be successful in the program. After that, then I start saying, who would you like your mentor to be? Give me 3 people that you know in the building that you think would be really great in helping you grow. And if it's an intervention specialist license, like it's great to have experiences in a first grade classroom or a third grade classroom, but you need someone that does intervention also as your mentor because the roles are different and they do definitely combine and they cross. But if the classroom teacher has a very different lens than the intervention specialist what you're trying to be. And so and then that mentor, I get that, my principals and I get that mentor set up. And then we have a mentor here they have a mentor through you guys and also through the college. But also when I get emails, I check in with them. I say, great job, you're up on caught up, keep up the great work. Or, hey, can I support you? Like, tell me what you need, let me help you. So I think the structure starting from me is super important because I need to make my principals understand that this is student teaching. This is not them trying to do their schoolwork at work. This is student teaching for 2 years straight. And so I think if I can't make people understand that, that really can be a detriment to the person in the program because they need that. They need people to support them and understand where they're at. And if I don't understand, my administrators aren't going to understand. And so I think that's really important is making sure everyone understands and we're wrapping around them to help them because they're not only getting a degree, they're working with our kids every day in a world that they don't really aren't used to dealing with.
Yeah, I so appreciate you talking through, right? Like that top down, really thinking about how do I ensure I have a really strong understanding as the leader of this group? And then how do I help make sure that all the people involved, that it's not just the candidate, it's their principal, it's their mentor, it's the students they're serving. How do I make sure that everyone has what they need to be really successful? I remember sitting in, I think, this exact room with your candidates that first
Yeah.
year and talking through all the questions and all the things. And that just allows for everyone to have a really clear picture stepping in and feel really confident that we have a good fit for this program and the right supports in place for our candidates.
Yeah.
So
And if I have
I,
someone that comes to that meeting and they don't have questions, I have a concern. Like there's a million questions I have, and I'm the leader. You should have questions. And so, that, and I want them to hear things from you. And the first person that went through it, they said, have you ever heard the saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is? And I was like, yes. And she said, that's what my husband said's happening. What's really happening here? I was like, I thought the same thing, but it's legit. And we're paying her a whole degree. And so I think it's important for me to understand it so that I can help other people. And that then supports that person.
it's amazing. And has made a real difference because your candidates have been so successful. So we know
They're
that
doing
those
a
putting
fabulous
that
job.
all in place matters.
Like I said, one's already being paid as a teacher and she doesn't have her license yet. And so that I couldn't have found someone. I posted, I didn't find any without her. And I know I'm getting ready to have 3 or 4 retirements over the next few years and special intervention specialists. I'm already getting the pipeline to get them ready. When we're ready, they're going to be my people that we've trained and we've kind of helped them. And then they're going to be amazing when they're in that role.
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess then the one thing that I'm still wondering a little bit about, and I think you've started to even surface this in some of the things you've shared, is are there any ways that this program has sort of changed your perspective or added to your perspective around teaching, teacher prep, and education, where we are today?
I think we say all the time in education that our teachers, if you're teaching the way you were taught, you're doing it wrong. Education should not look today like it looked when I was a first grader sitting in a classroom. And if it does, we have to look at that. I think the same thing for the college experience. Like I said, sitting in a classroom and I did binders. They were beautiful. They were color coded. I did binders with more stuff in them than anyone could ever say or put. I've never looked at one of those. It's about the experiences. And so I think just like we should look at education differently. College isn't exempt from that. I think this has helped me see what I knew, but that it's possible and that it's actually a better experience. It's a lot of work, not easy, but it's worth it. And it shows that it could be done in different ways.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspective,
Welcome.
Vicki. Is there anything else that you want to share with the group? Otherwise, I just so appreciate your time and you sharing your experience and obviously all the incredible supports you've built around the folks at Triad Lake.
I just say do it. I have more people that are applying for other positions in my district because of this, because they want this. They know they want this, but they've never had the income. They've never had the support. There's a lot of things that happen in communities. And so I think do it. Like my line of people is waiting. And so as my board sees more and more success, they're like, sign up more, sign up more. And you get more people into other positions that you get to feel out and decide. And so it's, I think, totally going to transform what I can do in filling positions here. And I can't wait for more because I have other people waiting too.
Thank you so much. We so appreciate it. And we so
You're welcome.
appreciate you. Well, with that, you all, I'm going to pivot to our incredible panel of current candidates, current folks who are moving through this program at different schools, at different districts here in the state of Ohio. I'm gonna try to give, I think Tabitha is here and connected, though we may not be able to see her on video. I'm gonna give her an opportunity just to say hello to the group, since she wasn't able to earlier. Ugh, we'll have to get Tabitha's input and another way to make sure we can get that third perspective in the room. Um, I will get us started with some questions for India and Stacy. One, if you'd like to just introduce yourself again, tell us a little bit about what inspired you to pursue teaching through this program.
Do you
Go
want to
ahead,
go first?
Stacy.
Yeah, okay. I'll go ahead.
Stacy.
So I'm Stacy Witt. I'm a paraprofessional at Western Brown Local School Districts out in Brown County, Ohio. I'm currently a paraprofessional in a K through 4 cross-category classroom. Um, right now, I only have 5 kiddos. All 5 are on the autism spectrum, so that's what I work with each day. As far as what kind of wanted me to do the program, I wanted to go into teaching. I've got my bachelor associates in human and social services, and I decided that's just not what I wanted to do. I wanted to help, but that's not how I wanted to help, and I couldn't figure out how. And financially, I was like, I cannot go back to school. I've got to work right now. And this program was introduced to me, and I was actually applying to other jobs when they offered me the position in the program. And they were like, hey, like, if you're interested in teaching, we've got this program and you can keep your job here. And that is what I decided to do. And it has worked out so well for me. I'm able to get my bachelor's, I can work. Um, I've even got my husband. He's going back to school now to get his bachelor's in education as well. So it's really helped us a lot, and we really enjoy the program.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Just even sharing, thank you for sharing with us. I'm like looking if Jackie's in the room somewhere, right? Then you were actually in the process of kind of trying to find something different. And then this really sort of incentivized you to say, this is a pathway that makes it so that I really do want to stay, continue, grow. That's
Yes,
amazing.
it's kind of like a sign, like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be at. So,
It all came.
yes.
Yeah, do you want to share a little bit about your inspiration?
Well, I've been at Miami Trace for 25 years as a paraprofessional. About 9 years ago, I went through a program with Southern State Community College to get my associates in paraprofessionalism. But that program I had to do at night after I'd been in school all day. And it was just once I got it, I was glad. I mean, I was happy, and I never thought about going back to get my bachelor's because I thought there's no way I've got to work. My husband and I, we both need to work and everything. And so this program kind of fell in my lap. Our superintendent received um, information about it and sent it out to everybody. And there were a couple of us that looked into it. And I was the only one that kept with it and decided to do it. And I mean, it's been wonderful. I mean, I cannot complain. My administrators here at my building, all my principals, my assistant principals, our superintendent, our new assistant superintendent, who was my principal here, they have all been very supportive and have worked great. They pretty much let me pick my mentor teacher, and it's been good for that because I'm not like in a regular classroom. I have my own classroom, so it's a little different. So at the end of the day, I go to my mentor's classroom, who is it's a there's a intervention specialist in there and a teacher, so it kind of helps both things because I'm getting my intervention specialist because um, those babies, they're my heart and they always have been. That's what I've always done is the special needs children, and they're just my love. And so that's why I wanted to do that. But this program has been so, I'm not going to say easy, but a lot easier than going to school at night and having to sit and do all the reading and all that kind of stuff. Now, sometimes there are some hiccups where it is a little difficult to look at it. I mean, I really struggled with like the reading part of it because I'm not in a classroom where they're teaching reading, and we started a new reading program, and so a lot of that. So, I mean, there's more good to it than there is bad. If you're looking into it and you can do it, I would jump on it because it's been great. I will be done in December. And it's been, like I said, I have had such great support. And if you can get that support, I mean, don't run. I mean, run, don't walk to try to get into this program because it's been great with everything being online. It's so easy to do. you can work at your, kind of your pace and set yourself, up to get your bachelor's. And it's been a lot easier than like in a traditional setting, So I think it's been a godsend. So
India, I feel like you bring up a really good, like a really good perspective there about the difference between like you trying on a program where you were going to school after the school day, nights, weekends, trying to keep on top of those and finding that that maybe wasn't a fit for you personally, but that this is a little bit more of a fit. I'm wondering for both of you, can you talk, or for whoever feels comfortable answering, can you talk a little bit about how you're finding that this on the job model differs maybe from a traditional teacher prep program or other programs that you've tried on?
well, I think what's nice about this one is you don't have to do your student teaching. There is someone here at school that's doing a program, and he's a paraprofessional, and he's gonna have to leave the position so that he can do his student teaching because he can't get paid as a paraprofessional and do student teaching. Whereas all of my hours that I'm here teaching or at work count towards student teaching. And it's great because, like you said, you're in a classroom, you're doing the job are that you're in the class, in like when I was a one-on-one aide, I was in that classroom and I was doing stuff, and there's stuff that I know to do. And some of these classes, I look back on those and have been able to pull from that. So it's so much better to be able to be in a classroom where your job's at, and what learning what you're doing, being able to use what you've learned to put into the program.
I completely agree with India. Like she said, being in the classroom, doing your student teaching, like in my case, I I plan on working in this classroom for a very long time. This is where I would like to teach, and being able to student teach in there as well. I am already able to figure out what is going to work for me for a teaching style, what's not going to work for me. Just different things in the classroom that I wouldn't have thought about if I was just focused on student teaching and not my actual position. So being able to take my position into consideration as my student teaching has helped a lot.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you're here in the call, you may be sort of gathering this with our program, and what our candidates are sort of expressing is as they complete the full 2 years of their program, all of it happens on the job, right? All of it, all those assignments, all that thinking happens in their classrooms, in those spaces, trying it on with students, trying it on with colleagues. So the student teaching that sometimes we think about in more traditional models, where I personally, my student teaching was my last semester right before I graduated. I went full time, but they really get to engage in a student teaching. They're engaging in trying the skills on in the classroom from day one all the way through the end of the program after 2 years or potentially 3 years engaging in the program for folks. Thank you both for sharing that perspective. I'm wondering a little bit if you could both give us a picture. I know both of your placements are a little different, your districts are a little different. Could you tell me a little bit about what a typical day or maybe a typical week in the life looks like for a candidate in this program?
Yeah, I could totally do that. So for like my position, like I said, we have K through 4 in my room. I primarily work with our third graders. That's just who I transition throughout the building. I've got to work with these three boys for the last 3 years, and it has been fantastic. So our day starts the same. We come in, we do our morning routines, breakfast, things like that. We focus on academics, and I am there for like one-on-one support, and then we just transition throughout the day, like our regular lunch, recess specials, all of that fun stuff. But when it comes to doing my student teaching part during the day, the activities, and thankfully I've got a great mentor, and the teacher that I work with is fantastic. The assignments that I need to complete are activities that I'm going to be doing with the students. So they are still learning, they're still, receiving instruction, but it's through me. And so a lot of my day is instructing, but also like just, I don't even know how to explain, like doing my regular position as well. India might be able to give a better insight on that.
Not really, because my day's a little different because, like I said, I basically have my own classroom. I don't teach core, so that's how I can do that. I teach what we call cooperative learning. So the kids are playing game. The older kids we're doing a lot of game playing and teaching them how to get along, and that not everybody can win, and how to do that. With my younger ones, my K1 and 2, I do a program that's a social emotional program with them. We do the little spot. And so some of that can tie into some of my classes, but then I have my plan period is at the end of my day. So there's still 45 minutes of the school day left. So that's when, if I need to like videotape or go do an activity with the kids, I can go down to my mentor's classroom, and she's been great. Both of the teachers in there, letting me working on stuff, getting the kids prep, telling them, I'm coming in, we might have done this, but you're going to have to do it again because Miss India is coming in. And I really enjoy it because some of the kids are like, are you coming today, Miss India? Are you doing this or that? And so they've been great. So like I said, mine's a little different because I'm not in a classroom per se. But being able to go down there and do stuff. And if I have to do something throughout the day, and do something that would work better in the morning, the administration here is like, my administration has been great, and coming and somebody will come cover my room so that I can go do that. So like I said, it's really easy. And like I said before, don't walk, run if you can get into this program. It's been great. And I say that I am almost 60 years old and going to get my bachelor's degree, and I intend to, to keep teaching. Like I said, I've been here 25 years and I have no desire to leave this position. Some of my friends are like, well, we're getting ready to retire. Why would you have gone back to school? And I said, because that's my dream. I want to teach, more than what I do now. And I don't ever, right now I have no desire. So this program worked out perfect. So
what I'm hearing from both of you, right, are right? There's a balance in this program, and there's some balance of what is my like day-to-day role, right? My role in the school building is still my role in the school building. So working full time as a paraprofessional, as right in these roles that I'm in, and on top of that, I'm collaborating with my mentor teacher or the classroom that I'm kind of going and observing and doing practice in. And so you're balancing collaborating with them and building and planning those artifacts of practice and how that happens in the school day. It all, threads together in ways that help you to grow, but also help you to think. I feel like I heard you say this, Stacey, like think about your own role even a little bit differently, that you're starting to say, how does this impact the work I'm doing in my other spaces too, which is cool. So I feel like both of you started to hit on this in your sharing about your experience in the program. I'd love to hear a little bit. I know we heard this from Vicki a lot, thinking about the support structures. I'd love to hear from both of you what supports, either from Lake Erie or from your school district or just in general, have really helped you feel successful in this program.
I know we've talked about it a little bit, but having a mentor who truly wants to help you do better and wants you to succeed is so, so important. I've got friends who are in college, and people that they have to work with or their mentors that they have are not helpful. They cannot go to them if they need something. My mentor is available 24/7. I could call her on the weekend for an assignment, and she was like, I am here to help you because she wants me to succeed. She wants me to do what is best for our kids, and that makes me want to succeed by having her push me that way. As far as like in our building, my principal and assistant principal have been fantastic. They know that I am in school and I am at work to do my job, but I'm also in school. So any resources that I need, or if I need coverage to go record a video, if I need to leave a couple minutes early to attend a webinar kind of thing, they're like, absolutely, we've got this, not a big deal, don't worry about it. And I feel like having that kind of positive support has kept me like driven in the program because they want me to succeed, so then I really want to succeed.
And that's kind of the same with my mentor teacher. I was in her classroom when I did my associates. I was a one-on-one aide at that time with a high functioning autistic student. And so excuse me if you hear the bus call. um, she has really strived to, wanting me to succeed too, because she saw how difficult it was doing my associates, having to go to school at night and all this. And same with, like you said, Stacy, if I need something for an assignment, she's willing to look it up. Like last week, I had to do something, and she says, I'll have it done for you so that we can go over it. She said, I'll have my students do it for you, and then we can look over it and make sure, if it's what you need. And so they've been very supportive. And, that's the one thing, having a mentor teacher that that's there to support you and know that they want you to succeed has been a real joy to know that they're wanting you to go into that profession that they're in also.
I am going to try and see if Tabitha, I'm getting a notice that I might be able to tap her in. Tabitha, would you like to share a little bit here? Are you able to share a little here?
I was almost scared to even say anything. Can you hear me?
We can. We're like, welcome.
Hallelujah.
Introduce
Goodness
yourself as
gracious.
well.
Well, you'll have to catch me up on the questions. I know I work at City Middle School and I work in school suspension. And then as far as my daily task, I go to a room for my third period of the day and I watch him teach the class and then I teach the class in 6 periods. So it's pretty awesome because I get to see him as a 5th grade teacher doing what he does, and then I get to learn from it. And he's very awesome with taking like the videos. Even if I'll do it in both periods so that I'll know his ideas basically, so that way you can see what you did wrong in the first video so that I can do it in the second video. And as far as the staffing at Sydney, I actually got to pick my mentor, and I've done each semester I do different mentors so I could get a full range of how the teachers actually do their teaching. So it's been very nice.
Tabitha, you're right on brand because we were talking about support structures, and I feel like what I'm hearing as a thread through what everyone said is the importance of that mentor, that person who is the one who is touching base with you to help you, to video you, to give you feedback, to cheer you on and keep you engaged. And so I'm just so grateful to hear how strong it's been for each of you in your placements in your schools to have someone that you feel really well supported by, to help you navigate all these things, because you are in a lot of ways trying on some of the pieces of being a full-time first year educator. You're getting to try those on in part throughout the program, and I know how important it was to have someone supporting me through that first year, and I'm glad that you all have that support in your buildings. I'm going to pivot a little bit, just looking at the time. I want to make sure we hold some time for questions, but I have a couple left for my panelists. Something I feel like you all have raised is that there's a lot happening in your lives, in your work, and then adding this program on top of it. Can you talk to us at all about balancing? So balancing work, coursework, personal life. How do you manage balancing all of those components?
With mine, I have set myself like Sunday afternoons after church and doing things that need done. Usually late Saturday or late Sunday evening is when I really sit down and just go through everything and make sure I can get stuff done. And then like throughout the day, I'll have a time where I can check and see what I need, what needs to be done so that I can, talk to my mentor teacher. And a lot of times during my lunchtime, I'll sit and, answer questions or do some of the learn activities just to get it done. So I'm able to balance it. But like I said, I try to set myself up to like Sunday afternoons is my time to work on some stuff to get stuff done. Tara,
Now, on my end of it,
I'm gonna have to tap out.
Sorry. I was just
That's
gonna
okay.
say,
Yeah.
India had to leave a little
I
early.
apologize.
Thank you so much,
thank
India,
you.
for spending some time with us. We appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Go ahead, Tabitha.
okay. So on my side of it, I mean, I know that people might be like, dang, how's that girl get it done? But honestly, with in-school suspension, I mean, I do spend time with the kids if they do have things that they have questions about. But then I also have my lunchtime, and I have probably a couple hours a day where I can work on that. And then if I stay after school, I try to get everything done through the week so I don't really spend time on the weekend. But it's just awesome that I can fit that in if I have students or if I don't have students. I just love having access to that. And I know you guys had said something about like my instructor, like I can text her anytime and just say I'm having issues with this and she'll answer. So I really like that as well.
That's amazing.
I know
Stacey?
with my life is kind of like everybody else's. It's very hectic. I've got my husband, we're both in school. We've got a 2-year-old daughter. We've got a nephew who lives with us who's a senior in high school. So we have a lot of things that we've got going on. But with this program, with it not having like due dates, I don't have an assignment due on a Wednesday by 8 o'clock or something like that. I am given a full, like right now, 7 weeks to get all my assignments done. I'm given all my assignments, and it's kind of just like a go nuts kind of thing. And that is so helpful for me. So I'm not worrying about due dates, and I'm able to work at my own pace. And like India said, I have typically Thursdays and Sundays put aside to focus on just schoolwork. I have a set day that I meet with my mentor that works for her. And just having a little bit of a schedule, but not having expectations of having something turned in by a certain time is super, super helpful.
And
Stacey, I
can I
appreciate.
add to that?
Yeah, for sure. Go
Sorry.
for it.
Because, we had spring break and I was like, oh, like devastated because I was going somewhere spring break. But, I got to do those ahead of time so I wouldn't have to worry about it. And I really enjoyed knowing that I wasn't going to be stressed about it because I could finish them early. I could finish them, before I needed to. But I really enjoy that too, trying to step ahead and not, getting penalized for it.
I think what both candidates are lifting here, both Stacey and Tabitha, one of the way the program is structured, you do have to take your courses in the term at the university. However, you have access to all of your coursework, you have access to all of your assignments from the first day of class, which means you have from the first day of class all the way till the last day of that term to complete those assignments. And so for some people, they pace it out throughout the term. For some people, like Tabitha was just sharing, you want to get ahead and you get some of it done because you have a big break or you have testing coming up. For some people, they leave it all the way till the end, but that's the structure that works for them. And so you do have flexibility not to have to turn in every assignment at certain paces throughout, but you can say, I know my own schedule and I know when I can get this done for me within the scope of the term, which is great. Lucia just put this in the chat. I will also just echo it as I kind of close out with my panelists here. If you have questions for any of the panelists, we obviously still have two teacher candidates here, Stacey and Tabitha. Vicki still stayed on with us from the district perspective. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat or put them in the Q&A, and we'll hold some time to answer those questions or pose them to our group.
I'll kind of fill in as they're typing in questions, the last question you asked. From
Yeah.
my perspective, I look at the first semester, I wanted them in a classroom 20% of the time. Second semester, 40, third semester, 60, and then the last semester, 80 at least. And then I made sure no matter where they were, they had a planning time. So I knew they were going to have time to work with their mentor, work with lessons and things like that. So I think that's a good thing to think about in the job you can. Like when you get in that last year of it, you should just be in the classroom because it's student teaching. So I think that's a good way that we've looked at it. That's helped our people be able to find time to do the work and not at home all the time doing most of the work.
I love the intentionality of that, Vicki, of like making sure there's space in the school day. Obviously, there's going to be things we have to do at home, but we really do have trying to build that space and build that opportunity for your folks inside of the school day. I do see a question in the chat about where the degrees are coming from. Our partner college here in Ohio is Lake Erie College. So everyone is enrolled at Lake Erie. They take their classes through Lake Erie. Their faculty are there. And ultimately, as you heard, many of them are going to graduate really soon from Lake Erie, which is super exciting. Lucia, did you see any questions? Otherwise, I'll ask the group one more question.
I don't see any more, but I do know we have some Virginia folks on the webinar as well. And so we do have higher education partners in other states. I just wanted to note that.
Oh, yeah. We have partners kind of across the country. I work really closely actually with our higher ed partner, which is Virginia Wesleyan University in Virginia. Okay, so one final question then, group, and we'll see if some other questions trickle in while we're answering this one, which is really just what advice? What advice would you give for Tabitha, for Stacey? What advice would you give to other paraprofessionals or folks considering this program? Vicki, I feel like you've actually given a lot of advice, but what advice might you give to a leader or a district that's considering this pathway?
I'll let the candidates go first if they want.
I love it.
Well,
Yeah,
go ahead, Tabitha.
good. Well, I wanted to add that I'm really impressed with Vicki because I mean, I think as a superintendent, I think you have the right positive attitude for your workers. And I think it's awesome just in my own school district how everybody's opinion of me has changed. Not an opinion of if I'm bad or good, just the opinion of, wow, I can stick her anywhere I want. Like, so if we don't have a teacher, they're like, Tabitha will sub. Well, so like I'll sub the whole day. And, you know, that has changed my whole outlook on things. And I'm even doing a reading fluency program. And I just think they're all in. And I commend you, Vicki, for being one of the superintendents that is also all in.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I don't know if that answered your question. Sorry.
I
I'm
just
gonna go
love
with
it.
Tabitha
I love
there.
it. Well, let Stacey answer, and then you can see if there's anything you want to
You're
add.
good. I'm gonna agree with Tabitha there as well because I was just gonna send an email, but saying it in person probably or over video is probably a little more professional. But I agree. Just hearing Vicki speak and how much she cares for her staff and supports them, but also like not necessarily pushes them, but like she said, she requires them to be in a class 20% of the time, 40% of the time. I think that is just so helpful to make sure they're getting that experience because there are some times where I'm like, I've got to make sure I'm back to my classroom. I have to get this done. And everybody's like, well, make sure you get it done. And for Vicki, she's like, no, this is when you're going to be in there and you need to be in there. And I think that is so helpful and encouraging and just, I think you're doing a great job from what I've heard. Um, but as far as the program, I just do it. It's been so helpful in not knowing what I wanted to do, but knowing I wanted to help people. Having this program with how accessible it is, it's not hard to figure out how to do it. They are so supportive. It really is worth it. One of the things that I've really liked is with the Bloom board, like record videos. If I turn in a video and I forgot to mark something, I'm not gonna fail. I'm not going to have to completely redo an assignment. I'll send it back and be like, hey, you forgot this. Can you fix that really quick? You fix it, you turn it in, and you move on to the next assignment. I'm not worried about receiving like a C or a D kind of thing. And that has like eased educational anxiety, I guess you could say. Um, it's just, I don't know. I've really enjoyed the program. I found out yesterday actually that I'll graduate a little later than I expected, but that is because I'm a dual licensure student and I didn't take that into account. So I kind of was bummed, but then I'm like, that gives me more time to be a paraprofessional in my classroom and to gain some more knowledge for my future teaching. So I'm actually kind of excited now.
And what I will add, I think, on what Stacey was just sharing, is that if there is a dual licensure pathway, which is what Stacey is in, it is 9 additional credits. It's one
Yeah.
additional semester, but you do graduate with a bachelor's degree in both your elementary education and also the mild to moderate intervention. It gives you a pathway for licensure in both, which is nice. Vicki, oh my gosh, you get so much praise during that. I love that.
That's so sweet. I don't even know you, but now I want to go to dinner. I'll kind of start my advice with maybe a little story that most people don't know. I grew up in poverty. My parents had me at 14 and 16. And so I'm a kid that should not be a superintendent. I'm a kid that everyone gave up on, and school was hard. The thought of taking a test and not being enough was super hard for me. And me going to college, I was a first generation college student. I remember my guidance counselor not giving me scholarships because she said, you're not really college material. But I was like, I'm going to do it and I'm going to work hard. And if I can work hard, I can do anything I want. I always wanted to be a teacher. And so I think what I always try to remember in all I do is when I tell my staff, when I make decisions, it's on number one, what's best for kids. Number two, what's best for my staff. And if they collide, it goes to kids every time. And this program and growing people that wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity, it is best for kids. But you have to give them the opportunity to really like dive in it. You can't just say, well, you did it, now you have a degree. No, get them with the great mentors. Get them in the classrooms where they're going to experience things that they wouldn't normally experience. It is in the leader's hands to make this really, really great and to lead up to amazing educators that come out of this. That's great for my kids. Like, that's what it's about. It's not about checking a box like, well, we did it, now they have a degree. Who cares? Like, it's about the experiences, and it starts with the leaders that are on here today. You have to push for this because you can't get great by giving mediocre. And your teachers that are in the program, they want great. But if they don't give the structures and don't have the supports to put them in great experiences and take time for it, if you're going to end up with someone that you have an improvement plan because they can't do the things you need them to do. So do it right the first time, and then you will not regret it. I don't regret it. I will always have or students. I should say kids because I'm 55. They're kids. I will always have them in it. And I think it just do it, but make sure you do it well. Don't do it halfway because you're not helping those people be good for kids in the long run.
Thank you all. I'm going to take Nancy's question and then we're going to close out. We have this question in the Q&A. It says, help me understand the program. Candidates in the program do not start as the teacher in the classroom. Is it more mentorship? Is the district able to create their own program? What I will tell you up front, and then I'll let my panelists kind of chime in here, is as you can kind of hear, everyone's is a little different flavor. All of our candidates enroll at Lake Erie. They all take classes together as a cohort. And so they take the same classes and they have to produce the same artifacts, but how they go about doing that in their school building really, really varies depending on what makes the most sense in that district for that candidate for that school building. Is there anything that you all would add to give some clarity around structure of the program?
I can add a little bit of that because I also have, there's two other ladies in our district that are also going through the same classes. But like I mentored in the 6th grade and now I'm mentoring in the 5th grade. And those two ladies, actually do like 1st grade. So everything's different when they turn in their artifacts because a lot of mine is, more like documented, like if I have worksheets or whatever and the kids answer differently than you would if you were in 1st grade. So it is a unique experience for me as well as them.
Thanks so much, Tabitha. And Tabitha, there are 3 ladies all in the same program who started at the same time in her district, but everybody's looks just a little different based on their placement. Yeah.
I agree. And I sit down in those meetings and try to decide what's the best fit for this candidate. And for my people, they sign that after they get through their degree, they stay for 5 years, which is a win for me because they're going to be here. They want to be here anyway, but I did that. So I want to make sure it's an experience. I can give them what I promise. I don't want to sit here and promise you the world and then, oh, well, but you can't do that because you now have to do this. And so I think it's sitting down and deciding what works for you and the district balancing that you don't want them going home every night. And there are things like you have to have the course and the syllabus and all these things that you have to have for these lessons. Like they have to have access to things like they're a teacher. They can't just be this person that's doing college but pretending they're coming in to do something. It really needs to be like student teaching.
Stacey, anything you want to add there?
No, I don't think so.
Well, can I add something to what she said just for a second? When she says about teaching, I think she hit that right. She hit it right on because, that mentor teacher just gives me so many of their lesson plans and, their pacing guide and they give you all that stuff that they're normally looking at that helps out so much. And I think, that's the way it needs to be.
That I feel like I heard that loud and clear today is like how important that support is in success in this program. Everyone, thank you so very much. I want to just give a ton of gratitude to our panelists. And just express so much excitement for you all as you move through the program, or Vicki, as you continue to see these folks move into positions in your district. Just thank you so much for sharing your time, your wisdom, your perspective today. Folks on the call, thank you so much for joining us. And obviously, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to follow up. But thank you so much, everyone.
You're welcome to share my email. If someone's on here and they want their leadership to hear about it, I'm more than welcome or willing to answer questions. So you're welcome to send them my way. You're welcome, Taryn, to share that if they want to pass my information along.
We will absolutely take you up on that. Thank you so much. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, rest of your week. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.